So today is day one of the global release of Warzone Mobile. In this video, I'll be going through all of the settings that you need to set to make sure you're staying competitive in-game. Most of these settings will work if you're using a touchscreen, so you're playing just natively on the phone, but I would say if you want to stand a chance of winning, most players are going to be using controllers, whether that's a PS5 or Xbox controller or something like this, which is kind of backbone style controller which plugs directly onto your mobile device. All of these settings you're going to want to set. They've got some new interesting ones which are specific for mobile. And if you want to know a little bit more about this controller, then make sure you subscribe to the channel, because I've got a video coming up where I do an unboxing and review of this controller here. Anyway, let's jump into it. You get to the settings by hitting the gear in the top right hand corner, and we'll jump straight into the control settings. And first off, it will bring you to an overview where you can start to look at your HUD. And if you wait till the end of the video, I'll show you how you can get the cleanest hub on Warzone Mobile. So that basically mirrors what they have on the console versions and PC versions. So super clean, not many buttons at all, and so you've got as much space as possible for the gameplay. Now you want to make sure you've got the weapon trigger set to manual fire. You can have this set to auto fire, as you'll see when you go through the training, but the auto fire takes a while to actually start firing when it's locked onto a target. So you want to go for manual fire, because then you'll just shoot as soon as you hit the trigger. Automations are set to custom, so we'll start to take a look at those if we jump over to gameplay now. So here are the automations, and some of these are really good, just optimized for mobile gameplay and just to help you reduce the number of clicks that you're having to do on screen and just to be a little bit more efficient. So the first ones that you want on are the weapon auto pickup. So as you land in, it will pick up the first weapons that you walk over, which can really help you out in these early gunfights. So you want to make sure you've got this turned on, and it will auto pick up starter handguns as well. So this will just swap out any starter handguns whenever you open chests or whenever you first land in. This will auto equip the weapon as well. So these three settings you will want turned on, and then you can adjust the priority of these slots. So for example, assault rifle and SMGs take highest priority. Say if you have three weapons that come out of a box, an assault rifle, an SMG and a shotgun, it will make sure that it picks up the assault rifle and the SMG and leaves the shotgun on the ground. So basically you're picking up the best weapons to help you win those gunfights. You want to make sure you've got turn to damage assist off. Auto loot pickup is also turned on, so this will be picking up things like gas masks, self-reses, kill streaks, so you don't have to click on them on the ground. They'll just pick up into your inventory without you having to do anything. This is super useful. Auto mantle, you definitely want this turned off. I found myself with it turned on just being a whisker away from a ledge or anything like that within a gunfight, and you'll be hopping or jumping all over it, and that's you dead. So make sure you got that one turned off. Then a parachute you want set to manual, same as you would do on console and PC. That's because if it auto deploys, it's going to keep you hanging quite high above the ground and you'll slowly float down. So you want to have as much control so that you can pull it as close to the ground as possible to make sure you're not getting shot out of the sky. Then you want climb stairs buttons turned off. You don't want to auto be climbing stairs. You don't want to auto crouch, and you don't want to turn corners with assistance, because you'll find that absolutely whiffs your aim. And then auto equip armor is also turned off. Then if we go over to the virtual stick behavior, that's set to analog. This is quite an important one. You want sprint to stand set to on. So if you're proned or crouched, when you start moving forward, this will put you straight into a sprint rather than being prone into crouch then standing up before you start walking. It basically cuts out those kind of standing phases, so it puts you straight into a sprint. So again, just a bit quicker. The movement can feel a bit clunky in this game, so I think anything that we can do just to reduce the number of clicks or kind of speed things up a little bit, we definitely want to have turned on. Camera rotation mode is set to accelerated. The ADS button allows rotation is on, same for fire button and throwback button. The weapon mount movement exit is on, and the delay to come off that is short. So that's basically if you're mounted up and you want to come off it, there's no kind of slower animation or a delay in you coming off. It's just snappy, you're off. So if you're getting held or you need to dip off, then the animation is super short, you're off the mount. Then like I said before, the weapon trigger is set to manual. You don't want this set to auto. And then the auto range fire limiter is off. Single shot behavior is custom. You can have that on for the shotguns, and then the aim down sights when firing is custom. So you've got all of the assault rifles and all the weapons on apart from shotgun and sniper, because you won't always want to be ADSing with a shotgun. And then aim down sight behavior is set to toggle. So this basically means when you press the L trigger in, you'll ADS, release it, and you'll come out of ADS. If you want to have it as hold, then that's probably better if you're using the native touchscreen on a phone. So if you're not using a controller, you might want to try hold, but generally toggle is going to be the best here. Focus behavior here is hold, same as it is on console. Auto melee is on, and then sprinting door dash is on. So unfortunately they haven't got tap to interact as a setting on this yet, so you do actually have to hold X to open doors, and it's not even a tap X, it's hold X. So like I say, it's another one of those clunky movement things which hopefully they'll address in future versions. But while you're sprinting, you can dash through doors, so make sure you've got that one turned on. The force reload is sprint only, and force equipping armor is on, and you want to make sure you've got all armor plates being applied, so it's not doing it one by one. You don't need to keep hitting the button, so they all apply at once. And obviously you want aim assist on, definitely needed on a mobile version of the game. Vehicle controls are arrows, so that just gives you a bit more of a binary left right rather than a slightly more fluid joystick, so it just makes it slightly easier to control. Gyroscope, not really into that, so I don't bother with that. If you're like the small percentage of me and you need the vertical look as invert, have this turned on. Most of you probably won't, but I'm one of the weird ones. And then I've got the outlines set to on multiplayer and BR, just so you can see your squad mates, and it just highlights them, makes it clearer to see who the enemies are. Then if we move over to interface, so you want the left fire display off, and the fire buttons, well, auto fire, are also off, so that's just, you don't need to see that. Like I said, we've got the HUD video, just clears everything up, especially if you're using controller. Show you the ammo separated, so that just gives you a clearer indication of how much ammo you've got left in the mag, so you're not going to keep getting caught short. I don't know if you've noticed this, but on day one the ground loot basically has got, like, all of them have got 30 round mags, so they could definitely do with pumping some of those up on the ground loot. Hit marker display is on, and you can actually change the size of this, but obviously we're on a mobile device, and the larger you go you're going to start using up gameplay real estate, so I think small works fine, and you can keep the transparency to 100 on that. You want the auto sprint lock floating, and this is more for touchscreen players, but change stance is set to merge, so that basically merges the button so that you stand, crouch and prone in one button, or you can split them out. Depends how you like to work with that, less of an issue if you're on controller. Fixed joystick and invert camera and horizontal all off. Resupply alert and reload cancel alerts are on. If you're not new to the game, then you can definitely turn the tooltips off as well. And then we move over to sensitivity, and obviously this is going to be a bit of a personal one, so you might have to do a bit of trial and error on that depending on what controller you're using. But I actually found the sensitivity was quite high, even though the movement felt sluggish. The default sense felt quite high, so I've actually pulled the aim horizontal right down because I was whiffing shots all over the gaff. And then I've set my vertical multiplier to 0.55, and then I've got my horizontal and vertical set to 6, and then I generally just set a global ADS sensitivity, and mine's set to 1.60. I don't normally go into the different types of zoom per weapon, I just kind of get used to one sensitivity and then stick with that across all weapons. And then finally on this section, the ADS sensitivity transitioning timing, I've got after zoom. So if we come out of controls and then go over to graphics, so this will depend a little bit on what device you're using, but if you're using a newer device, whether that's an M1 chipped iPad or iPhone Pro 15, then you can have this set to high. There is a peak option as well, but I think with the optimizing changes that will be coming to the game, they are more suitable later down the line. High seems to do the trick at the moment and seems to keep the frame rate a bit more consistent. I've got my performance optimized for frame rate. Obviously if you're worried about the battery, then you can swap this over. You will lose frames, but it is that toss up. And then depending on your data, you can allow the asset streaming for textures and things like that over your data plan, which I've got set to yes. I've capped my FPS at 60. You can do uncapped, but I found that I was noticing spikes and drops in the FPS, so I prefer to just keep it at a solid 60 if at all possible. And then the field of view you want set at 90. It comes at default of 80, so you can pump this right up to 90 and it makes a noticeable difference. Hopefully you found those settings useful. Hopefully they got you a little bit closer to the dubs on those classic maps. And like I said, if you want to get that super clean HUD that I was talking about, then make sure you watch this video here, because I explain how you can do it. Just all you've got to do is copy a setting over and that will give you a super clean HUD, none of the buttons on it. Anyway, make sure you subscribe and I'll catch you in the next video.